Chairman, we've had confirmation that the live stream is working now.
Right, thank you. Matt, would you like to oh, sorry, Emma, you want to confirm the vote first of all?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. If I could, yeah, it's Emma Coe, Democratic Officer. Just to confirm that the vote taken for item 4.3, application number PA20/03582, the motion was to refuse the application contrary to policy 9, 12, 21, 23 and on the character of the area, and a roll call was taken and the motion to refuse carried by 10 votes in favour with no abstention, with 1 abstention and no one against. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. And we've had debate, we've had questions, and we need to get on. But Matt, did you want to very concisely?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think both myself and the case officer covered this anyway in questions and debate, yeah. But yeah, the inspector did come to the decision that the bigger scheme wasn't that harmful to the character of the area. So obviously it's going to be difficult on a smaller scheme to convey that it has character harm either. So it is going to be a difficult one at appeal.
Thank you. Right. All right, Councillor May.
Yes, thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Councillor Jewell, you're indicating I'm really wanting to get on. Yes?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that as long as Matt's happy to say that it says it is building in the open countryside, that's covered in one of those policies. Is that correct, Matt?
Yes, that's why it's a rural exception scheme, because it's in the open countryside.
No worries, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Look, I've had this is not right. We've had debate, we've gone through the vote. This item has been covered. Now we're moving on. Thank you.
I absolutely agree.
My question here is, because we've taken an hour per item plus this morning, the last item should be shorter. Do you wish to carry on or do you want a lunch break?
Carry on, please.
Carry on, please.
Yeah,
I'd like to carry on. I don't like it when we feel that we're put under pressure not to have a comprehensive debate, because these are important issues, otherwise they wouldn't be at committee.
No, but the other side of that, Councillor Tudor, is that it allows more items on the virtual agenda to be supported by the resources and not to be done under any other planning rule or process. So that is why we ask.
Well, that's why we're put under pressure, isn't it? To
yeah,
right.
We are going to move on. Agenda item 4.4, which is PA200699, Mr. John Fox, Strongman's Yard, former Falmouth Coachworks, Penwaris Lane, Falmouth, advertising consent for lettered signage on the side of the building at a high level. The case officer is Chantel McLennan. Chantel, are you there and ready to present, please?
I am, Chair. I'll just share my presentation now.
Thank you very much.
Okay, can you confirm you can see the screen?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay. So this application seeks advertisement consent for the installation of lettered signage to be fixed to the previously approved student accommodation at Strongman's Yard, Penwaris Lane in Falmouth. The key issues in assessment of this application are amenity and public safety. So the site here, outlined in red, is a former quarry site.
Sorry, Chantal, can I just interrupt you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've just been advised again that the live stream may have dropped out. So rather than proceed, can we get confirmation again that it's still working?
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries.
Chairman, it's Emma, Co-Democratic Officer. Just to let you know that the live stream is live. However, we've had to move on to the second link due to the technical issues we experienced before. So if there are any members of the public watching, they will need to use the second link, which starts at 2 o'clock. But if they move on to that link, then the meeting will be streamed online.
Even now, Emma, before 2 o'clock?
Yes, it is being live streamed. It's just that members of the public will need to use the alternative link rather than the link they were using before. So yes, we are being live streamed. So if Chantal wants to commence her presentation again.
Right, thank you very much. Right, Chantal, over to you again.
You want me to start from the beginning again, do you?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay, no worries. Okay. So this application seeks advertisement consent for the installation of lettered signage to be affixed to the previously approved student accommodation at Strongman's Yard, Penwerris Lane in Falmouth. The key issues in assessment of the application are amenity and public safety. The former quarry site is located within a predominantly residential area of Falmouth and is access of Penwerris Lane. Planning permission was granted on appeal in February 2018 for a 134-bed student accommodation scheme on the site. The development has now been constructed and is being occupied by students. The site is not located within a conservation area, however it is located immediately southwest of the Falmouth Conservation Area. Members can see the conservation area boundary outlined with the dashed purple line here, and then the site on the opposite side of the road. There are also a number of listed buildings nearby, outlined in purple. To put the site into context, here is an aerial view. This is the site area here. The site consists of 3 blocks of accommodation of varying heights. The lettered signage is proposed to be fixed to the side of Block A, which is outlined red here, and this is adjacent to Penwerris Lane. The letters are proposed to be individually mounted and finished with brushed metal. Whilst it's acknowledged the lettered signage will be prominent, the lettering is considered proportionate with the size of the building and height at which it will be affixed. The lettering will not be illuminated and is proposed to be finished with a brushed metal. By reasons of its size, design, height and position, the proposed signage is considered appropriate for the existing character of the site and would not harm the character and appearance of a wider area and setting of the conservation area. The proposed signage would be positioned at a height on the side of the building sufficient to avoid the structure creating a visual or physical obstacle for vehicle users. It's considered that drivers would therefore not be unduly distracted by the proposed signage and would not cause public safety issues, nor would the signage obscure or hinder the ready interpretation of any traffic sign. The Highways Officer raises no objection. Turning to the photos, this is a view towards the building from Penwerris Lane. So this is the student accommodation block here. You can see the painted white elevation where the sign has been located. This is the neighbouring dwelling here. And then this is just a closer view of the building with the signage to be positioned in this location here. On balance, it's acknowledged the signage would be prominent. However, due to the size, design, height and position, it would not harm the character and appearance of the wider area and setting of the conservation area. Drivers would not be unduly distracted by the proposed signage, which would not cause public safety issues. The application is therefore recommended for conditional approval. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have no member of the public speaking in objection, but we do have Councillor Spargo from Falmouth Town Council who is to speak in objection. Are you there, Councillor Spargo? Has Councillor Spargo unmuted?
Yes, I'm here, Chair.
Thank you very much. Councillor Spargo, you have 3 minutes to speak and you'll be told when 30 seconds remain. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. This objection statement represents the views of both Falmouth Town Council and Falmouth and Penryn Conservation Committee. I will occasionally be referring to your briefing report and would like to start with the sign itself and briefing points 1 and 29, which are duplicate each other. They both state that it is going to the sign is going to conserve the character and appearance of the conservation area. I feel that's a ridiculous statement to make. This will be the only sign of this size and type in the area. As shown, the area I'm including is the whole of the site plan area. There's a possible exception of the Green Bank Hotel having a sign, but nowhere else in the site plan area is there this sort of building with this sort of sign. It's totally inappropriate for a residential property in this residential area. It's not a commercial property needing to advertise its business. This is not an industrial estate or a retail park. Report items 7 and 8, the applicant says the sole object of the sign is to aid fire, ambulance and police plus delivery drivers. Believe me, there's no need. They have already been made well aware of its location by the disruption caused to traffic during its long drawn out construction and the 3 months of its occupation since. Anyone who needs to know where it is has seen it, and those that haven't will use their sat-navs to find it. If I was giving directions to a driver, I'd say it's the only big, ugly, tall building in the street, easy to find, with or without a sign. Also, the sign is not fit for its purposes. It's only visible to those approaching from the town, whereas the majority of those that the applicants claim are the target for the sign will be approaching from the opposite direction. In the words of the applicant, the sign location is definitely suboptimal. Even the photos you've just been shown from the town side show that it's barely going to be visible from that side also. This building was strongly objected to by the people of Falmouth, the Town Council and Cornwall Council, and the build process has been extremely painful for the local residents with serious parking and traffic issues around it. They're still trying to come to terms with the car bunker in their street. Putting this oversized sign up to proudly declare its presence is viewed by local residents as nothing but a further reminder of the failure of the planning system to protect their environment. They see this as a vanity-driven application, which they find offensive. The other student blocks in Falmouth have not felt the need for oversized signs, and neither have the local residents felt the need for similar sized names or numbers on their houses. So why is it needed? Can't we just have a normal sign?
3 minutes, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor Spargo. Perhaps you just hold on there a minute for questions, please. And Councillor May, you've indicated. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Could I ask how many objections there's been, Councillor Spargo?
I haven't counted them up, I'm afraid. I know there's a few letters of objection on the website.
Not to worry, I can ask the planning officer, but thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Kenny.
Yes, Councillor Spargo.
Sorry, could I just say something back relating to that question, which would be, unfortunately, I don't think there's been as many objections that would normally be expected when someone's angry about something, because their expectation after the original drawings and plans for the building were allowed through, people have sort of given up on the system, I'm afraid.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Spargo. You've answered that one. Councillor Kenny.
Thank you, Chair. Have you had any negotiations or liaison with the applicant on this sign?
No, we had a discussion at our planning meeting, and we made the sort of points we've made in this statement, really, that we feel it's inappropriate. I've got a feeling that the applicant feels there's a bit of a vendetta against the building, but in the same meeting we passed another application relating to the building without any argument at all. We're just seeing it as it is. It's just inappropriate.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, I've got no further questions listed. Do you confirm that, Vice Chairman?
Yes, agreed, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Then thank you very much, Councillor Spargo. And we move on to Javed Aziz, who is the agent speaking in support of the application. Are you there, please?
Chairman, if Mr. Aziz could press *6 to unmute his microphone, please.
Hello, can you hear
Hello.
us? Hello, Mr. Aziz. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Aziz, you have 3 minutes to put your case, and you'll be told when 30 seconds remain. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you for your time and for the opportunity to present this to you. Unfortunately, I'm not on Teams. There's a problem with the system. We've been in residence now for 3 months. There's 134 occupants with very little issues that were forecast before we did so. The sole objective is to assist people to find the building. And I remain very convinced that the emergency services, fire, ambulance, and the police, they need this signage. We can't rely on individuals who've been there before when there is an emergency. The building has to be properly, appropriately signaged. The sign is not going to be illuminated. The sign is not garish. It's not multicolored. It's not offensive. And it is part and parcel of a building of this nature. I should remind the audience that I'm not the one who got the planning consent for the existing building. I bought it and as it is. And we are very pleased with the cooperation that we are receiving from the local residents and the nearby occupants. And having been on the street there for 5 or 6 days in a row over the last 3 months, I can tell you that the delivery services, they seek this information, and it is chaotic when you have a delivery van going up the road and then trying to reverse after they've gone past the building. So the sole objective is not to advertise, but is to assist. And I would very much request the committee to approve this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Perhaps you could just stay there for a moment for questions, please. And I've got thank you, 2 indications already. Councillor Jewell and then Councillor Alvey, please. Councillor Jewell.
Hello, yes, Mr. Aziz, you say that this is for the sole objective of the emergency services.
Yes.
Is there any evidence? I can't see any evidence in the report to say that they've requested this signage. And then you say that the signage will not be illuminated. So if there's an emergency during the night time, the dark hours, this sign won't be any use anyhow. Is that correct? And the building, as far as I know, because I live in Falmouth, in my mind, it sticks out like a sore thumb. So you can't really miss the building if you're driving by. But in regards to the sign and illuminated overnight, it wouldn't be any benefit. Could you agree with that? And where is the evidence for the emergency?
No, sir, I don't agree with that. I'll take the illumination point first. It's going to be dark black, and they call it black illumination against a very, very light white background. I have been there in the evenings. It is perfectly readable without any backlighting. As far as the emergency services are concerned, there is a request from them. They have been out to the site twice, and I don't know whether they had trouble finding it or not, but my duties are to the 134 occupants there, and I wish to do everything and anything possible to protect their lives and their health. And in my opinion, having the sign there will be better for them than not having the sign there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Alvey, you're next, please, and then Councillor Kenny.
Thanks, Chair. I think my first question has really been covered by Councillor Jewell. I was going to say, is there any request or evidence whatsoever from the emergency services that the signage or whatever isn't currently acceptable, and it would appear that there isn't. The second point I was going to make, and like Councillor Jewell, I'm very familiar with Falmouth. I grew up in the town, so and I know the site well. The point made by Mr. Spargo, would you accept, Dr. Aziz, that actually anybody particularly approaching the site from within, from outside the town, who was unfamiliar, probably using sat-nav, wouldn't actually come in the direction that the sign would be visible anyway? They would be coming in from the other direction.
Thank you, sir. Our experience is to the reverse. When I see all the delivery drivers coming, and I've been on the road for many extensive hours to view this, they come from the direction in which the sign would be most pertinent. And, you know, what more can I say than that? I mean, there is no possibility to put a sign anywhere else for the other direction anyhow. And no, we haven't been approached by the emergency services. I know what I'm doing is correct from a health and safety perspective, and that a sign from a health and safety perspective is better than no sign. And the sign is not intrusive, it's not illuminated, it obviously doesn't cause or emit any noise. And I'd wish to progress with this application with the health and safety of the 134 occupants at the forefront of my mind.
Thank you. Councillor Kenny.
Two questions really. Repeating the question, I mean, have you tried to discuss it with the parish council? And have you thought of putting it on the front where it might be less obtrusive, it's still visible?
Well, on the, thank you. No, I have not discussed with the parish council. I didn't know that I was meant to. I'm very happy to do so. The frontage, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but factually, is a load of windows. And the only place to put a sign is on a piece of wall, which in my estimation is no more than 1 meter tall and 2 or 3 meters long. So by the time a delivery vehicle or a emergency vehicle comes up to the building and has gone past it, because they can't see that sign from a distance. So placing it high up on the building is meant to help as opposed to hinder. So it's not a sign meant for motorcyclists or the residents or pedestrians. It is genuinely to help emergency services and the delivery service. And by the way, this problem is going to get, or this traffic level is going to grow exponentially over the next 5 years.
You've answered the question, Mr. Aziz. Thank you.
Can I just say there is no obligation to talk to the town council, but it is a good idea.
Thank you, Councillor Kenny. Right, we have no other questions indicated. Can you confirm that, please, Vice Chairman?
Yes, no indications.
Thank you very much. Is Councillor McCarthy with us, please, Emma?
Thank you, Chairman. I'm not aware that he is. If he is, though, if he can make himself known, that would be useful.
If you are here, Councillor McCarthy. No. Right, then we move straight. Yes, Chairman. Vice Chairman.
Is there a statement at all from Mr. Councillor McCarthy?
Chairman, I'm not aware of one.
No. Thank you. Right, thank you. Then we move straight on to questions of the planning officer. Are there any questions of the planning officer, please? Councillor May, thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. And can Chantal let me know how many people objected, please?
Yes, there were 3 letters of objection. The key planning material considerations are set out in paragraph 20 of the committee report. You'll note that 2 of the objections actually related to concern in relation to the lighting of the sign. I just want to confirm no illumination is proposed. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor May. I have no other questions indicated for the planning officer. I'll just give it a moment. Councillor Jewell. Councillor Jewell, you have a question?
Yes, I do, the planning officer. In your report, you mentioned the Falmouth neighbourhood plan, and it's going to the referendum in May next year. And there is some relevant policies in the neighbourhood plan. Would you accept that because it's gone through examination and it's only now waiting on the referendum, it holds considerable weight? Could you confirm that, please?
Yes, I can. If you look at paragraph 12 of my report, because it's being into referendum, we can now give the plan significant weight in the decision-making process. Thank you.
And did you take that into account in making your decision for this application?
I did, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. I have no other questions that the planning officer indicated. Again, can you confirm that, please, Vice Chairman?
Yes, I agree.
Thank you. Then we move into debate. Who wishes to start, please? We need somebody to start the debate. Like buses, they all come at once. Councillor Jewell, you're first, please.
Yes, being well, a member of part of Falmouth, I mean, I'm not often over that side of the town, but I have been a little bit more involved recently because the ward member seems to have dropped off the face of the earth. We can't seem to get hold of the member at all for it, and that's why this was called to committee, because we couldn't get a response from the member in regards to whether he wanted to call to committee, so it was called to committee. But I mean, the building has been controversial to say the least, and just to put a sign on the side where you can't really miss the building from either direction, I think rubs salt into the wound, really. I think the policies in regards to the neighbourhood plan hold weight. DG2, DG3, 6 and 8 can be used to refuse this application because it now holds considerable weight. It is adjacent to a conservation area. It's out of keeping, and they don't need it. I mean, there's no evidence from the applicant that the services require this sign. It's only his own wish to have it. And as we know, this is not a one-way road. People can come from either end. And I tell you now, if you were coming from Sainsbury's roundabout, your sat nav would definitely take you up Old Hill and hang a left into this development. It would not take you the way that the sign you're going to see. So you would not see the sign coming from the way of Sainsbury's. So you'd have to have a sign on both ends of the building. And I think you can't really miss the building is such an alien thing in the area. No one's going to miss it. So I think we can turn this down. I'm proposing refusal on the grounds of our, well, may have some help from Matt, please, but obviously the policies of the conservation area, as we heard from the Falmouth Town Council speaker, the Conservation Area Committee was against it. So we got DG2, 3, 6 and 8. It's out of keeping and it's going to affect the setting of the conservation area. I'll leave it there for the time. Thank you.
Righty, thank you. And Councillor Alvey, you have indicated that you'd like to second. Would you like to speak?
Yes, I mean, I indicated to speak, and so I'll say a bit now. Yeah, basically everything that Councillor Jewell has said, I concur with. It does have an unacceptable impact on the conservation area being right on the edge of it, and the only overriding thing that I could see that would actually prompt that would be if there had been requests from people like the emergency services for better signage because they were having difficulty in locating it, and it's clear that that's been given as a justification with absolutely no grounding or basis whatsoever. So on that, I'm happy to second.
Right, thank you. We'll go to the officers before we go to the vote, but I've got other people who've indicated they wish to speak, so we'll carry on with the debate for a minute. Councillor May, you're next, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. I'm happy to go with the vote, but I really, you know, all buildings have signage. I hear what Falmouth are saying. I actually just live just up the hill from this site. The actual lane is narrow, the approach road is narrow, but you know, we are where we are with it. If they want to put a sign on their building, as they said, it's not going to be illuminated, and I think, you know, I'm happy to just go and see how the vote goes. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor May. Vice Chairman, you're next, please.
I deleted my crosses, Chairman. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Councillor Kenny.
I didn't know you could delete your crosses. Right, I find this incredibly frustrating. I don't think it should be at committee. This is absolutely a case where the parish council and the applicant should have got together and come to a compromise. I don't think we've got enough to turn it down, but I would beg both parties to get together and sort out a suitable correspondence. I mean, if you come to Newquay, you can see a socking great plastic seahorse on the edge of one of those buildings, which becomes a conversation point. So I think this is very mild, but I would just urge all the parties to get together and come to some sort of compromise. Thank you.
Councillor Tudor, please.
Yeah, I'm going to echo what Councillor Kenny just said. Why I can't even understand why it has come this far. Presumably because we've got two entrenched views on a building that the town council dislike, and neither prepared to reach a compromise. I'm not convinced that one party hasn't reached out, couldn't reach out to the other, and that hasn't happened. So I actually can't see a problem with the sign either. So yeah, I'll see how the vote goes, but I absolutely can't see anything wrong with it.
Thank you. Right, Councillor Jewell, you wanted to speak again, and presumably you'd like some advice from a planning officer.
Yeah, that's the 2 points really. I mean, just coming back on Councillor Tudor, the reason why this is here is because of the lack of commitment from our ward member. We have not had any feedback from the ward member for at least 6 months in regards to any casework in his ward. He's not doing anything in the ward, and that's why this has come in.
Do we know that? Thank you. Can we move on with the application? Councillor Kenny has just indicated again. I don't
have to say. I want to disassociate my comment from that. This is not about the ward member. This is about two parties who are not talking to each other. And I think you're out of order, Councillor Jewell, to start accusing the ward member, who's probably in a horrible position on this.
Let's look at the planning application, shall we? So now, Councillor Jewell, would you like some advice from the planning officer on your proposal?
Yes, I mentioned some policies earlier in regards to neighbour plan, which holds now considerable weight. Hopefully we can use that, and it would affect the conservation area.
Who wants to come in, Chantal or Matt?
Yeah, I can do that. Do you want me to just read out some suggested wording?
Yes,
please. Okay, the signage by nature of it, prominent sighting, size and design would have unacceptable harm to the character and appearance of the local area, this being the setting of the Falmouth Conservation Area. The proposal therefore conflicts with the aims of policies DG3 and DG8 of the Falmouth Neighbourhood Development Plan and policies 1, 2 and 24 of the Cornwall Local Plan, as well as the NPPF. And we've got various paragraphs we can put in there as well.
Thank you very much.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah.
Councillor Jewell, right, thank you. And are you happy with it, Councillor Alvey? Councillor Alvey, are you?
Yeah, sorry, totally happy with that. My mute is slow at unclicking today for some reason.
Right, okay, thank you. Then, Vice Chairman, you wished to come in?
Yes, please. In the essence of balance, this was down for approval. So what were the reasons that would support approval as against what has just been said?
Matt, would you like to come in on that, or Chantal?
Yeah, I think that probably the case officer set that out, but really looking at it and what I've seen today is that really the sign doesn't really have any harm. It's probably the sort of sign you'd expect to see on a building like this, and perhaps the building could really do this on the dormant as well.
So thank you, Matt. I'm going to go to the vote. Could you read out those policies again, please, so that everybody is very clear?
Yeah, it's 3 and 8 of the neighbourhood plan, 1, 2 and 24 of the local plan.
Thank you. And so we have a proposal for refusal proposed by Councillor Jewell, seconded by Councillor Alvey, on the policies and the impact which Matt has just read out to you all. So we're now going to go to the vote. All those wishing, the vote is, the proposal is for refusal. Emma, would you like to take the vote, please?
Thank you, Chairman. I'll do an alphabetical roll call. If you could indicate whether you're for, against or abstaining from the proposal. Councillor Alvey.
For.
Councillor Batters, he's gone, hasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Councillor Brown.
Gone.
Gone. Councillor Bull.
Against.
Councillor Dyer. Councillor Dyer, you for, against or abstaining? You're on mute.
Is that better?
Better. Are you for, against or abstaining?
I am very much for.
For. Thank you. Councillor Greenslade.
Against.
Councillor Jewell.
For.
Councillor Kenny.
Against.
Councillor May.
Against.
Councillor Mould.
For.
Councillor Tudor.
Against.
Councillor Williams.
For.
Chairman, the vote has been tied by 5 votes in favour and 5 votes against.
I'm very sorry, Councillor Jewell, but I have to stick with my vote. I see no harm in this sign, so I'm voting against.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. I can confirm that the motion to refuse has been lost on the Chairman's casting vote. You'll need another proposal now, Chairman.
Yes, thank you very much. And I'm looking for a new proposal, please. Sorry, my machine is playing up a little bit. Councillor Kenny.
Yes, I propose the porter set up, and I would absolutely urge the two parties to get together and come to some sort of compromise.
Agree with that. Thank you.
Second, please.
Thank you very much, Councillor Greenslade. So we have another proposal for approval as set out, proposed by Councillor Kenny, seconded by Councillor Greenslade. We are going to the vote. Would you like to take the vote, please, Emma?
Thank you, Chairman. Once again, I'll do an alphabetical roll call. If you could indicate whether you're for, against or abstaining. Councillor Alvey.
Against.
Councillor Bull.
For.
Councillor Dyer.
Against.
Councillor Greenslade.
For.
Councillor Jewell.
Against.
Councillor Kenny.
For.
Councillor May.
For.
Councillor Mould.
Against.
Councillor Tudor.
For.
Councillor Williams.
Against.
Thank you, Chairman. I can confirm once again the motion has been tied by 5 votes in favour with 5 votes against and no abstentions.
Thank you. Then my chairman's casting vote is for.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. I can confirm that the motion to approve has been carried on the Chairman's casting vote.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm very sorry that the last meeting before Christmas had to end on that, but I thank absolutely everybody in the committee that's worked so hard. Thank you all for your hard work, your consideration. Thank you to all the officers who support us so well, and thank you very much to the Vice Chairman who considers everything and is very, very helpful. Thank you, and very happy Christmas, everyone. There is no other business.
Chairman, I will just wait for confirmation that the live stream has ceased, so we'll just wait for that for the moment. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think I can